The biggest mistake that couples make when it comes to romance and money has to do with the place of feelings and the place of decision making in financial matters. Love and relationships are two different things. Love is the feeling that you have for your partner. It's that natural affection, that longing for your partner. It's biological, it's physiological, it's intrinsic, it's a basic need if you want to push it that far. Humans were made for love. However, this does not mean that just because you have these feelings of love, that they can be able to sort out these feelings or these decisions that are supposed to be there because of money. It's a very big mistake that people make. Anytime they fall in love, they start feeling that it's a bit fishy to talk about the difficult subjects to do with finances, to do with money, when it comes to their romantic partnership. But today I want to talk about a few issues that could help us balance it out, because it's all about a game of balancing. It's all about a game of balancing it all out. There should be no extreme, whether too low, whether too high. It's a game of balance. Just enough of this, just enough of that. So when it comes to feelings, when it comes to lovely feelings, when it comes to decisions to do with finances, the first thing I want to encourage couples to do is that they should be able to make their own money first. Remember, I want us to set this basis. If you are relating with someone, you're coming in whole. You're not coming in as someone who needs to be filled. You're not coming in as 50%. You're coming in at 100%. You're coming in whole, complete. Not perfect, but complete. Meaning, it extends even to your money. When you're coming in, you should have your own money. You should have your own source of money. This doesn't mean that you need to be rich, because of course, you'll grow in wealth. As the years go by, like everyone else, just like everything else in nature, a plant grows from a seedling and it germinates all the way, develops a strong trunk, develops big branches, and finally fruition takes place. It's the same process even with money. But it's a seed in the first place. It's not just dirt, it's not just emptiness. There's a seed. So you need to come into your romantic partnership with something to work with. Come with a seed. A seed is something that represents potential for fruition in future. Have something, have a plan, have something started, have something you've already planned out. At least know how to handle your own money first. Be able to lead yourself before you come into a partnership. So you need to make your own money for two main reasons. This channel talks about narcissistic abuse, and we focus more on the survivors of narcissistic abuse. One of the things that narcissists use to entrap most victims is money. If they know that you don't have money, they know that you don't have the ability to be independent. If you don't have money, they can control you. So just to avoid any possibility that abusers or predators would take advantage of you, it's good to have your own money. You might come into love with good intentions, but I need you to understand that intentions don't achieve goals. Intentions do not achieve goals. Intentions are not enough. Just because you want to love this person, just because you desire and you intend to share loveliness with this person, doesn't necessarily mean that this is how it will go. It might be your intention, but reality might turn out to be different. Why? Because reality is dependent on the other party to complete the process. You don't play out reality alone. So you need to have your own money just in case there's an abuser lurking around. If having your own money will represent independence, and if independence represents that which fends off people who come into your life thinking they can take advantage of your need, then you need to go for it. You must make your own money. You should also make your own money because if you have a partner, this is life. When you're making that oath, you say for rich, for poor, right? For better, for worse. Just a point of note, that means circumstantially. It doesn't mean for better, for worse, abusively. It does not guarantee the abuser safety and fuel and endless supply if they fall out of character. Those vows are not permission. They are not license to abuse. But anyway, back to this point. When we say for richer, for poorer, for better, for worse, you should be able to be that to your partner. If you have your own money, if something goes amiss, if your partner falls sick, if your partner is involved in an accident, then you'll be able to stand in for them. This is another reason you need to make your own money. Also, when you're coming into a partnership with a romantic partner, you need to have two personal accounts. You need to have your own account. He needs to have his own account. And then both of you need to have a joint account, which is there for the family. This is important because you don't want to lose yourself in the name of a partnership or a marriage. You're still an independent person even if you're committed to someone. You've not disappeared. You've not lost your essence. You still have a family out there. You still have desires out there that are completely separate to your partner and your family. And you'll need to be able to spare something to be able to have a life apart from this commitment. That's why you need a personal account. And that's why he also needs his own personal account. Right? Because he is coming into the marriage or into the partnership as an independent. He's not coming in to lose himself. He's not coming in to disappear. And while he is committed, you're not taking advantage of his love and his commitment. So you need to allow him to also have his own bank account. When it now comes to your family, you can form a joint account where everything that has to do with your kids, your house, your businesses, and everything is accounted for in this joint bank account. So it's very important to maintain your own independence, even in a marriage. Remember, you have your own purpose, you have your own calling, you have your own goal. These are things that you will only be able to achieve if you have your own means. You have your own vision, you have your own, you're wired in your own way, you're unique. You should not forget all about it just because you got married. You can support your partner, you can fulfill your partner without losing yourself. To be able to do this, you need your own account. They need their own account to do it for themselves. And your family needs its own account so that the family business and the family issues are not interfered with your own unique personality and their own unique personality as your partner. Another thing you need to keep in mind is that you need to reward yourself. When you're working for this money, you need to beware the survival loop. You're not a robot. Your work is not just to wake up, do your 9 to 5, go back home. Wake up, do your 9 to 5, go back home. In fact, in developed countries, studies have been made that have demonstrated a very grave, a very sad situation, a reality of things. That people who work like this end up becoming very depressed. Right now, I'm in the UK. In the UK last year, 2025, it was categorized, I think, as the number 2 most depressed country in the world. And I want to tell you from experience, from living here, if you're not deliberate about how you move, you will not escape this kind of depression. So if you go to those developed countries where this system has been put in place and it's working, the system is working. The 9 to 5 is working, it's a system, it's a loop. It's very easy to fall into that survival loop of 9 to 5, 9 to 5, 9 to 5 sleep, 9 to 5 sleep. You end up getting very depressed. That's why you need to put plans in place for rewarding yourself for working. You're not supposed just to work only to survive. You also need to reward yourself within your own means. Just because you're supposed to reward yourself doesn't mean that you should go out of your way and just abuse and misuse your money. Don't get carried away by your emotions. Don't compare yourself. Don't go online and just look at how people are living and think to yourself, I also want to do that. If people are traveling and going there, doing that, you also want to travel, going there, doing that. You just want to copy paste or copycat what society is doing. You need to mind your own means. Not everyone is the same. Not all of us are cut out from the same cloth. Some people can afford that kind of a life. You can't yourself. Or maybe you can and others cannot. So they should not look at you and try to be like you. In this country, there's a monarchy. And sometimes I like looking at, observing how the princes and the princesses move and their emotions and how graceful they are, the way they dress. They're always so properly dressed, so classy. They go out there, they play golf, they go out there to the sea, and they just do things so graciously here and there. And you'd be tempted to think, I also want to live like that. That soft life looks nice on me. But you need to remember, this is a monarchy. These are people who come from a lineage of kings and queens. If you're not a king and a queen, why are you trying to live like a king and a queen? So in your rewarding of yourself, be mindful that you're always within your own means. You can do this by coming up with a formula. You can create a formula for yourself. For example, you can decide that in every year, I will spend a month's salary for my holidays. It's just an example. Or you can decide, if we have 5 rooms in our house, we will go into every room, and at whatever point in time we shall decide as a couple, we will spend a 1 month salary in that room. If it's in the living room, for example, the TV set will cost a 1 month salary. If it's the bedroom, the bed will cost a 1 month salary. If it's the kitchen, the gas cooker, the microwave, the fridge, the freezer, the utensils, they will cost a 1 month salary. The equivalent of that. If it's in the living room, the TV set, the sound system, the carpet, the sofa sets, they will cost a 1 month salary. If it's the study room, the furniture in there, the table, the laptops, the shelves, they will cost a 1 month salary. If it's in the library, my books will cost a 1 month salary. It's just a formula. You don't have to use it, but it's one I've used for myself. And I found it to be a proper balance. It achieved a proper balance for me where I did not fall into this survival loop of just working like a robot, hand to mouth, just eating and sleeping, and doing nothing else. And then at the end of the day, you look left, right, and center, and you discover you're only alive. You're only surviving. You're not thriving. That's not how to live. You need to reward yourself. You need to look at some point in time, look around your house and think to yourself, yeah, I've been working. I've been doing something with myself. When I look at my bed, when I look at my TV set, when I listen to the sound that is coming out of the sound system, I can tell that I've been doing something. So a formula will determine for you your rewards and your boundaries. It's very important so that you are not living either too low, denying yourself too much, and you're not too opulent that it's beyond your means.